you, Prabhu, and to the whole doctor group, the whole care team for Guru Maharaj, for taking such nice care of him. And like we disciples have gotten another chance at life. We've gotten another opportunity now. Guru Maharaj's, I think, illness was a warning to us that
yes,
not that much time left.
Yes, and I think all the disciples, this is my personal opinion, that all disciples should restrain themselves not to bother him unless you absolutely need to talk to Guru Maharaj. Not to see him unless you really needs to see him. And that applies to not common devotees like us, but to the leaders. Leaders also supposed to be restrained properly. Because everybody wants to talk to him, wants to come and see him. And every time Guru Maharaj sees devotee or his god brothers, he always spend time. And most of the time, there's not much, what you call, important talk. It's just feeling, what you call, happy or something. But so I think unless the Guru Maharaj, unless something is very important, we should not bother him. We can write it, we can text it, that's great. And Guru Maharaj can see, Guru Maharaj can, but he does not respond, that's fine too. He just, that's the best way to do it, just text him or email him or write a letter even. So those kind of things is better. But I think not to try to see him. Those people are flying to India, or those devotees or leaders staying in India. For them is a little clear message that, well, they should not bother him unnecessarily, not invite him anywhere unless you really need it. Because he will like to go and he likes to please everybody happy. So that's his nature. So
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
any other questions you have, I can say, but otherwise, no, let's start reading probably.
Yes. Of course, when Guru Maharaj starts giving classes, whenever he does, then we can go and listen to him and see him in person. So
yes,
that opportunity is there.
I also suggested Guru Maharaj that he should do more Zoom programs now, and he can come to our home like COVID time.
Yes. Okay, so we'll start reading.
Thank you.
So Gopal Hari Prabhu,
Yes.
Before we get started, like we said, so this is we finished the first chapter. If everyone is okay, we can do like a quick recap. Just like,
yeah.
Is that okay? So I have in the chat, I can put like a quick here link. There's a link you can just join. So this will be like a quick quiz, just 5 questions. Hopefully this helps us. Obviously, like we read something about Guru Maharaj, just kind of a good refresher for us. So if you join, you can join that on your laptop or on your phone. There are 2 options either way. We'll do a quick recap of what we studied in the first chapter.
Wonderful. So this is a link that you sent out in the chat. There's a link there and a code. So we have
you can do either one, Prabhu. You can either click on the link, it will open in a browser.
Okay.
Or if you're using your mobile device, you can go to that second link and then enter that code. Either one of the options should work.
So this is our quiz, 5-question quiz.
Yeah, just 5 questions.
It's saying to me the quiz is not opening, Prabhu.
One second, let me just check.
So we just completed the first chapter. Now we're going into the second chapter starting today. So as a way of reminding ourselves, we're taking this quiz on what were some of the key, important elements in that chapter.
Yes. Is it working now? I see people are joining.
Yes, I think it's working now. Let me see.
So I think it will ask you like your name. You can just enter your name. I think that should be fine. And then that way we know who's here. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I see seven devotees, 8. I'll just give like a 1 minute, and once everybody joins, then.
Sorry, I have to stop share. That's why. Okay. That makes sense.
I cannot continue the quiz. It's just next page to it. It's just the game is one.
So it was not clear, Prabhu, who was speaking.
No comprende.
Yeah, it's not allowing me also to continue the quiz. So the quiz is there, we click on it and the picture comes up.
Yeah,
And
it is.
it's not
I'm waiting
letting
at the picture. I'm waiting for all the devotees to join, Prabhu. So I see like 11,
Okay.
11 of us have joined already. Maybe I'll give like a 30 seconds. Everybody can just join. And then once we join, basically it'll be like, I can explain. So it'll be 5 questions. You'll see the question on the screen, and then you'll have about 15 seconds to just press the right option. It's multiple choice. Okay. So you just select your option that you think.
So right now we're just clicking the link and you should have a picture in front.
Yes, the Sri Sri Radha Parthasarathi temple, ISKCON Delhi temple, the one that we had in the book. I see 11 devotees have joined, but here on the call we have almost 50 devotees.
Yes, and this quiz is anonymous, right? If there's our grades will not be posted, anything. It's just for our.
It will not be posted. Yeah, it's not posted anywhere. But it's just a fun way for each one of us to kind of refresh our memory and kind of reinforce what you've learned and heard about Maharaj.
Yeah, so please don't hesitate to click on the link. It won't be judged.
Right. Anybody having any issues to join? Do you want me to post the link again? It is there in the chat already for anybody who joined a little late.
It's okay, Prabhu. However many people have joined, let's start. Otherwise,
okay.
I think, yeah, let's start, Prabhu.
Okay.
As long as we complete here, please. Yep.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so this is the first question, Prabhu. It's coming. Let's see. It's coming on your screen. Are you ready? Okay. So the first question.
It came, but it disappeared.
In 1975, Prabhupada gave his trusted disciple, Gopal Krishna Goswami, the responsibility of being the GBC for the entire, is it European continent, North American continent, Canadian continent, or Indian subcontinent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. We see 13 devotees answered it correctly. It was the Indian subcontinent. So let's see who answered and the fastest. Achintya Prabhu was fastest. Okay, so this is where it was. It was in the first page that we saw when we read last week. So Prabhupada gave Gopal Krishna Maharaj the responsibility of being the GBC for the entire subcontinent. All right, so next question is coming up on the screen. Everybody's ready. So the question is, Prabhupada kept upping the number of temples he wanted in Delhi from 8 to how many? Was it 10, 16, 18, or 20?
I think 14.
You pick the right answer.
There, I know I have a page.
18. Awesome, wonderful. So many people, so many of us answered correctly. Very nice. Let's see who answered fastest here. Mathura Priya Prabhu is in the lead now. Diti Ganga, Mataji. Nice, Haribol. Devi Murti Mataji is there. Chaitanya Prabhu is there. Okay, Vishnu Sakha Prabhu. So this was here, basically where Prabhupada Maharaj says here that because Delhi was such a huge city with many regions and sub-regions, one temple would not suffice. So he wanted people from all quarters to have access to Krishna. So Prabhupada had shared this same vision with Maharaj as well to increase the temples. Okay, question number 3. Everybody's ready? So the Montreal ISKCON temple, which was not yet in existence when Maharaj arrived there, would be the which Hare Krishna center in West? Was it the second Hare Krishna center, third, fourth, or fifth in West? Oh. So it was the third Hare Krishna center in the West after New York and San Francisco. We'll see that. Yeah, let's see who answered correctly. Yeah. Uma Mataji, Chaitanya Bhav Prabhu, wonderful. Yeah. Okay, so this is where it was. So you see this Montreal ISKCON temple was basically the third one after New York and San Francisco. Okay, question number 4. Gopal Krishna Goswami's first direct service to Srila Prabhupada was book distribution, temple programs, prasadam cooking, or cleaning his room. Nice. 19 devotees got it correct. Haribol. Let's see. Haribol. So, Uma Mataji, Chaitanya Bhav Prabhu, Harinam, Anand Prabhu, Mathura Priya Prabhu, and Sundar Mukunda Prabhu. Top 5. Fastest was Aradhya Radhika Devi Mataji. Yeah, so this is so Prabhupada. So first when Maharaj met Prabhupada, he was before even meeting Prabhupada, the devotees asked Maharaj to actually help with cleaning Prabhupada's room. So that was his first direct service. Okay, so this is the last question. During a stage drama done in the Boston Temple in 1969 about Saraswati Thakur approaching his guru for initiation, Gopal Krishna Maharaj played the role of Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or Jagannath Das Babaji. Very nice. Majority got it right this one also. There you go. Let's see. So this was in December 1969. This is when Prabhupada actually gave Brahman Diksha to Maharaj as well at this time in Boston in 1969. And Maharaj played the role of Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this particular play. Wonderful. So we'll see the final scores here. So Uma Mataji is the winner, and Gopal Hari Prabhu, Devi Moti Mataji, Mili, Chaitanya Bhav Prabhu. Wonderful. Thank you all for all of your enthusiastic participation. Again, this was just a way for us to kind of recap what we studied in the first chapter. Thank you so much for everybody's participation and learning.
Actually, it was nice because it reminded, we read this and this. It was, thank you. Thank you for taking this initiative and doing it. It was very nice. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we will start reading now.
Yeah, and we'll start with devotees who have not had a chance, Prabhuji, like we discussed. So on the list, I have Achintya Dev Prabhu, it's the first one. So you can start. And then Anand Rupa Mataji. Next.
And just friendly reminder, 3 paragraphs for everyone, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Prabhuji, I don't have the book, so how do I get it? Okay.
Yeah, I think Gopalai Prabhu is sharing it now, Prabhu.
It's also shared on the WhatsApp group, so in case that's easier, but anyway, my Zoom is working, so yes. Please start reading in the summer from there.
In the summer of
page 108 for people who have physical copy is page 108. So that way everyone who have physical copy can follow down there. Thank you. Sorry, Prabhu, go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhuji. In the summer of 1970, the Hare Krishna movement was growing exponentially worldwide, like a high tide caused by the moon of Prabhupada's purity. In the midst of this push forward, the New York Temple moved from 61 2nd Avenue in Manhattan to a much larger dwelling in a lower middle class Italian neighborhood in Brooklyn, 439 Henry Street. Prabhupada sent me to take charge of the temple in New York City in July 1970. Remembers Bhavananda Das, Brooklyn Mandir's first temple president. There were 12 devotees of 61 2nd Avenue, and I had sent Rishi Kumara to look for a more appropriate place in Brooklyn. He had found a convent for rent on Henry Street, but thought it was too large for so few devotees. He and I decided to go ahead and rent it anyway, with the little faith that Krishna would send men and women as the movement expanded. The actual move was easy since there was very little to transfer, and with no time devotees were joining and filling up the new building. It was a red brick, double brownstone building with a large walled garden. The actual structure had once been a Sisters of Charity convent just down the block from Warlock Shop, said to be a central location for the practice of witchcraft in New York City. That dichotomy was indicative of the devotees' perceived presence. They were largely a group of young Westerners adopting an otherworldly Eastern tradition, but few would infringe on their privacy as long as they would show the same respect to others. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anand Rupa Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Dandat pranams to everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. So from an external perspective, the new temple was located in a region called Cobble Hill near Red Hook, not quite a mile from a popular downtown shopping area in one direction and from the promenade, the Brooklyn Bridge, and numerous docks and warehouses lining the East River in the other. But to those who frequenced this locale, even if they had only heard the chanting from afar, it soon became non-different from the spiritual world. Mere proximity to Prabhupada's movement had a transformative effect, and anyone drawing close to the corner of Henry and Kane could feel its presence. Gopal Krishna, having committed himself to Prabhupada's movement in Canada, now found himself in the Henry Street Temple after taking a Greyhound bus to New York. A businessman for Krishna. In 1971, the year that Gopal Krishna arrived in Brooklyn, the New York Times reported that 55 celibate monks were staying in the ashram on the Henry Street, mainly men, though some women moved in too. Additionally, married couples, often with children, were living throughout the neighborhood as well, particularly in the building diagonally opposite the temple. Many of these devotees didn't hold a regular job and would simply attend temple functions on a daily basis. This same building is where Gopal Krishna lived as he continued working for Pepsi Cola and other well-established companies in a managerial capacity, often utilizing his vast experience in market research, his chosen field. This involved meticulously going over data in terms of qualitative and quantitative fiscal results, carefully assessed in order to draw conclusions on how to interact or compete with rival companies. Such expertise would be useful as he became a leader in ISKCON. Hare Krishna.
And next is Mathura Priya Prabhu. Mathura Priya Prabhu, you're on mute. I know, I saw you. You're here.
Yes, sorry. So once again, his involvement at the time was chiefly with PepsiCo Inc., which refers not merely to carbonated soft drink, for which it is famous, but through others' product as well. Pepsi is, of course, a highly successful multinational corporation specializing in American food, snacks, vegetable, beverages, with their main headquarters in Harrison, New York. More to the point, in terms of Gopal Krishna's career, PepsiCo had appointed his prominent interest in the manufacturing, marketing, and distribution of grain-based snack food, beverages, and other products. But it was solely the marketing side of the things that engaged his expertise. Although most New Yorkers are familiar with the massive Pepsi building located on the prominent corner along Manhattan Park Avenue, a monument to corporate America, Gopal Krishna was affiliated with their main branch in upstate New York. He relates his work a day life in those days. In 1971, I think in April, I moved from Montreal to New York. I was trying to establish my career as well as serve Prabhupada's mission. Canada is okay for getting ahead in corporate world, but everyone in Canada at the time would eventually end up in America because it offered better opportunity. So soon after arriving, I got a job in New York. First, I got a job in market research with a Jewish company that made women's clothing. From there, I moved to PepsiCo, again in market research. Previously, I had worked with PepsiCo in Montreal, so I eventually got back to that when I relocated to Brooklyn.
See, there's Palika Mataji, and then there's Palika Priya Mataji. Palika Mataji is
Hare
there.
Krishna Prabhu, can you hear me? I am in the car. Do you get a background?
No, it's clear, Mataji. If you can read it, yeah, you can go ahead.
From PepsiCo, I moved on to Clairol in a market research role as well. They were a part of the Bristol Myers group, but I mainly worked for PepsiCo and their office was in White Plains. I had a Jewish friend who used to pick me up in the morning and drop me off in the evening. We shared the ride and I would chip in for gas and tolls and so on. That was pretty common in those days. Carpooling. White Plains was far from Henry Street, but I made the commute regularly. I would take the train from the Virgin Street station near the temple in Brooklyn all the way into Queens, and he would meet me there with his car. From there, we would drive upstate, and we would return in the evening in the same way. It was a difficult program. Throughout, I was giving almost all the money to Prabhupada. At that time, the president of the temple was Bhavananda. Henry Street witnessed a quick succession of temple presidents over the course of a few years. Bhavananda, Rupanuga, Balimardan, Gopijan Vallabha all made enormous contributions to Prabhupada's mission, and the temple grew under their command. When Gopal Krishna arrived, as he noted, Bhavananda was in charge, and under his guidance, many new devotees joined and moved forward in Krishna consciousness. Gopal Krishna remembers them fondly. Jagannath Sudha, Jayadvaita, Radha Vallabha, Anuttama, Vishnu Gada, Pancharatna, Jadurani, and many others. Brooklyn Temple was far ahead of Canada in terms of the devotee population and the movement's growth. Gopal Krishna thrived there. Should I continue, Prabhu?
I think Mataji,
Yeah.
three paragraphs.
Three.
Sorry.
Okay. Kirtiraj Das, an early devotee who had joined just prior to the move to Brooklyn, remembers Gopal Krishna's stay on Henry Street. He worked every day and then he came home in the evening. I assume he showered and ate and then changed into dhoti and put on fresh tilak. because he looked really refreshed when we saw him at the temple. Then he entered the temple room, sat and started chanting his japa and Gayatri mantra. This was a nightly thing. I remember him chanting diligently. I kept thinking that he gets up early, spends a full day at a demanding job, and then comes to the temple to chant with full concentration. I thought to myself, this is an amazing personality. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, Palika Priya Mataji.
I remember on weekends, he and I would go to nearby apartment buildings and do what we call Hindu Sankirtan. This was an attempt to look for Indian families from whom we could get donations and to whom we would distribute books. It was effective. Sometimes we had leads, but often we would just depend on Krishna. Sometimes, wandering the apartment buildings, we would smell their distant cooking, spices, and all right through the doors, and so we would know it was a Hindu family. We did well. Many books went out that way, and money came in for temple needs. Gopalakrishna often distributed books on weekends. He would sometimes take the F train to 14th Street in Manhattan, which is a popular shopping area. There, among the local Hispanics, he seemed to fit in. Indians and Puerto Ricans, especially, he says, tend to have a similar complexion, and I would use that to my advantage. Fumbling through the few Spanish words he knew, trying to engage people in light-hearted conversations, he would enter himself to them. Often, they would speak to him in broken English for a few minutes and walk away with a book. Devishti Dasi, one of Prabhupada's early female disciples, remembers Gopal Krishna's book distribution efforts in Midtown Manhattan. Some evenings, I would go into the hellish underground waiting rooms of New York Port Authority bus terminal to distribute books. There would be a devotee dressed in business clothes already speaking to the people there, convincing them to take Prabhupada's books. As I came closer, I saw it was Gopal Krishna, now Goswami, on Sankirtan after his working hours. This made a lasting impression in my mind. Here was such an exemplary devotee that after doing his job, a job that Srila Prabhupada asked him to continue, he would immediately start preaching and distributing books. Soon after, he came to India, where Prabhupada virtually put him in charge of the entire country as GBC and BBT trustee. Prabhupada trusted him so much. Prabhupada would often visit Henry Street during the 4 years Gopal Krishna stayed there, from 1971 to 1974. This included part of the summer in both 1971 and 1972, spring and again in the early winter of 1973, and part of the summer in 1974. And during each of those visits, Gopal Krishna would spend time with him and thus deepen his own understanding of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Paramananda Chaitanya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Gavidanda Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. I had access to Prabhupada on many occasions. He says he would talk to me about many things, but mainly about preaching in India. By the time he came to Henry Street, the Indian congregation had picked up and I was involved in that. I was also involved in certain activities to protect the movement and especially the Brooklyn Temple from those who were using it for their own ends. For example, I worked hard to expose Bali Mardana, a senior Prabhupada disciple who had married a girl that was supposedly from the Teoda family, but in fact she wasn't. They were both deviating from the philosophy and creating havoc at the temple. I had to expose this for Srila Prabhupada. In 1973, I came to India and I met Prabhupada in Mayapur and Bombay to discuss this and other matters. Book production in Brooklyn. Another important development occurred during Gopal Krishna's stay in Brooklyn. ISKCON Press, which had acquired some modicum of expertise in publishing Prabhupada's books and would eventually evolve into the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. the world's leading publisher of classics from India, and moved from Boston to Brooklyn in the same year that Gopal Krishna had moved there from Canada. In the summer of 1971, ISKCON Press found its way to an old warehouse on Tiffany Place, only 4 blocks from the Henry Street Temple. It took almost 6 weeks to transfer everyone and everything connected to the press from Boston to 32 Tiffany Place in Brooklyn, says Swarupa Hibel, one of the devotees engaged in press projects at the temple. Trips were made back and forth every other day, carrying people and equipment. We even had to knock down a few walls to get some of the heavier machinery out of the building and onto the truck. Tiffany Place was 1 block over and ran parallel to Columbia Street, which ran along the Brooklyn Harbor docks. I was familiar with the area because I sometimes drove down from Boston to load consignments into cargo vessel, there for overseas temples. Hare Krishna. Should I continue the last one? In fact, that's how we originally came down the Tiffany Place location. On one of the trips, Advaita came with me and we drove around looking at industrial lofts near the Henry Street Temple. We noticed a for lease sign in front of building on Tiffany Place, which led to contacting the owner, a man named Aaron Kahane. Swarupa continues.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Pavitra Lalita Mataji.
Thank you.
On the call.
Again, friendly reminder.
Prabhuji, I read.
3 paragraphs only, please. We have a lot of devotees on call. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I read earlier. Do you want me to read again?
No, I was okay. So maybe you read it. Okay. So then next is Prasannatma Prabhu. And then Radhapati Prabhu.
Prabhu, unmute yourself.
Yeah. Prasannatma Prabhu.
I see him, but he's muted. Prabhu, unmute yourself. Hare Krishna.
The good news was that there was sufficient space for our printing press and a small multi-dish printer we had just gotten. The camera and the binding equipment, folding and cutting machine, typesetting and layout department, as well as offices for editing, and was growing mail order department. Narayan became the self-appointed foreman, and to this credit, with a lot of help from other devotees who assisted with carpentry, electrical and plumbing work, etc. Tiffany Places was gotten ready in a record time. When I came to pouring cement on the floor for the floor, we recruit every able-bodied devotee we could find and turn it into festive occasion, with prasadam being catered by the Henry Street temple devotee. The press began to take the on major project for Srila Prabhupada, Nectar of Devotion, the unbridged Bhagavad Gita as it is, an early volume of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It was going so well that Srila Prabhupada asked for 10 chapters from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto. They would be printed separately in small paperback edition. The first step in God realization, the Lord in the heart, pure devotional service, the change of heart, the process of creation, the cause of all causes, Purush Sukta confirm, schedule incarnation with special function, question by King Parikshit, answer by the Lord's version. Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. These are all published 18. Wait, it's lost here.
These were all published as thin booklets.
With handsome and the colorful covers. They were distributed worldwide. Nearly every college student had one in his or her dorm. Major cities especially were flooded with these self-published gems. We were printing other paperbacks as well, usually from the Srila Prabhupada lectures, says Swarupa, such as Sri Upanishad, Nectar of Instruction, Evolution to Krishna Consciousness, Krishna Consciousness, the Topmost Yoga, the Perfection of Yoga, and of course, our monthly Back to Godhead magazine. These require continuous effort to make sure that every 30 days, a new issue was ready to go to press. Gopal Krishna watched closely and learned he would one day also become a major publisher and distributor of the Srila Prabhupada books around the world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Radhapati Prabhu?
Just 1 second before we go. So Prashanatma Prabhu, who just read, he's going to sponsor second printing of a lot of these books. So big loud Hari Bol for Prashanatma Prabhu. Thank you so much. He's sponsored 1,000 copies at least minimum. So again, we all like to thank him. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Radhapati Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev. Though the local folk in Brooklyn needed some time to get used to the devotee presence in their neighborhood, by 1972, the movement was thriving, as was the praise, even if the facility would soon move to Los Angeles to eventually receive worldwide acclaim as the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. At that time, of course, being a major publisher, larger and more professionally equipped printing companies were hired to do the actual printing work. But Prabhupada and his disciples remained at the helm, guiding the printing companies every step of the way. Faye Levin, a journalist who wrote a book about ISKCON in 1974, having lived at the Henry Street Temple for some time, documents ISKCON's growing success, particularly in regard to its books, and it only increased as the year passed, especially while Prabhupada was still in mortal frame, Levin writes. At ISKCON Press in New York, 500,000 issues of the movement magazine are published each month. More than 20 books about Krishna consciousness have been printed, with the Bhagavad Gita, New York Macmillan paperback, 1972. A bestseller. In the largest and most active ISKCON center, the New York Temple, 120 devotees grossed $30,000 in street earnings in one recent winter month. Although there was a recession that diminished the world economy in 1975, ISKCON devotees increased their sale of books by more than 1/3 over 1974, which necessitated the Herculean effort. They had totaled an astonishing 9 million books and magazines, not including foreign language editions, such as those in Spanish, German, French, and Japanese, which was also considerable. Today, the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, BBT, has 6 main publishing divisions: North European, North American, Western Pacific, Mediterranean, African, and Indian. Every division is headed by a trustee, each responsible for publishing in the languages specific to their division. The BBT publishes in all the major Eastern and Western European languages, in the major Indian languages, in the main languages of the former Soviet Union, and in Arabic, Chinese, Japanese, Thai, Vietnamese, Indonesian, Sinhalese, Hebrew, Persian, and others as well. Within the final decade of his life, Srila Prabhupada translated over 60 volumes of classic Vaishnava scriptures from Sanskrit to Bengali into English. And it is estimated that over 500 million of these books have been distributed thus far. They continue to sell worldwide. In short, he would be pleased. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Rajiv Shyam Prabhu, are you there on the call?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Passage to India. By mid-1970s, Prabhupada was concerned about his mission in India. Part of his strategy in bringing Krishna consciousness to the West was to reinvigorate the spiritual sensibility of his homeland. Indeed, noticing that his countrymen always tried to emulate the people of the Western world, he tried to give Gaudiya Vaishnavism to the West, knowing that Indians would follow close behind. This is so because those in the third world countries tend to mimic anything American or European, for they identify it with the progress and success. This tendency stems from a lack of confidence in one's own culture, combined with uncritical acceptance of all things new and foreign. In the academic, religious, and sociological circles, this is called the PISA effect, a phrase that was coined in 1970 by Aghehananda Bharati, an Austrian anthropologist and a Sanskrit scholar. The basic concept can be explained by simply as follows. Originally, pizza in Italy was disparagingly frowned upon as poor man's fare. It was just simply unleavened bread garnished with a splash of tomato sauce. Then, accompanying the early immigrants, it made its way to America, where cheese, olives, peppers, and so on were added judiciously, totally transforming the original into a kind of newfound delicacy. Years later, when the pizza made its triumphant return to its land of origin, it became a highly respected dish on a vast array of menus. The new product was eagerly accepted and even given pride of its place in Italian cuisine. It had to go to another country to come back with a greater acclaim. Similarly, when Hinduism was first conceived in the West as a monolithic religious tradition around the turn of the 20th century, the tradition that returned to India caught everyone's attention, and Hinduism as a single religion caught on. Originally in India, of course, no separate religion called Hinduism ever existed. Rather, there were numerous independent religious traditions ranging from Vaishnavism, which is the eternal function of the soul, the religion of transcendental principles brought west by Srila Prabhupada, to Shaivism, Shaktism, and a host of other sectarian religions. When invading British imperialists lumped all of these religions together for convenience, many indigenous quote-unquote Hindus embraced the idea of as if it were something that existed all along. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Gopal Prabhu, just a check on time should be do one more, or we use this for discussion now?
Maybe one more, and then we'll
Okay.
just finish the
Okay.
pizza.
So I think Ram Murari Prabhu, see your hand is also up. You are next.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, to all devotees. Srila Prabhupada too was engaging a pizza effect of his own. As explained by Satswarup Das Goswami, Prabhupada's idea was that when Indians saw young Western people adopting the principles of Krishna consciousness, the faith of the Indians in their own culture would increase. Prabhupada explained to his disciples how formerly, during the time of Maharaj Yudhishthir, India had been a Krishna conscious state. For the last 1,000 years, however, India had been under foreign subjugation, first under the Mughals and then under the British. As a result, the intelligentsia and to a lesser degree the masses of India had lost respect for the culture. They were now pursuing the materialistic goals of the West. Sorry, can you all hear me?
No, your voice is very feeble, Prabhu.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
No, it is still very feeble.
It was clear until the phone came.
Yeah.
As a result, the intelligentsia and to a lesser degree the masses of India had lost respect for their own culture. They were now pursuing the materialistic goals of the West, and they saw this as more practical than religion, which was only sentimental. Westerners living as renounced Vaishnavas could, as Prabhupada was well aware, turn the heads and hearts of the Indians and help them regain faith in their own lost culture. Prabhupada's pizza effect strategy has proven everything but half-baked. The initial success of Krishna consciousness in the West has now been surpassed by its ever-widening acceptance in India, the land of its birth. The Vrindavan and Mayapur temples, central to the Krishna conscious tradition, continue to flourish, and projects in places as diverse as Mumbai and Chennai are increasing day by day. The major temple complex in New Delhi, which we will explore more thoroughly in the next chapter, is magnificent in numerous ways, and efforts in as far north as the Himalayas and in as far south as the Rameshwaram show that the entire subcontinent is now engulfed in Prabhupada's mercy. Do you want me to read the next paragraph, Prabhu's? But as Gopal Krishna was still in Brooklyn in 1974, all of this was merely in seed-like form, a brainchild that Prabhupada was just starting to put into effect. In 1971, 72, and 73, says Gopal Krishna, apart from my job, I was trying to cultivate Indians to become life members as my service for the temple. Prabhupada encouraged this. I would go out with Kirta Raja for some time, and then Dhira Krishna, who was a brahmachari at that time. It seemed this service was preparing me for working in India, and Prabhupada always expressed concern to me about the preaching in India too. He wanted to get the right man in charge to oversee things in the subcontinent. I didn't know it at that time, but he was grooming me for that task. Jai Guru Maharaj ki Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Sorry about the audio, Prabhu. I don't know what's wrong. But next time I'll use my laptop rather than the phone.
Hare Krishna.
It's very clear after, yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, for a wonderful reading. As usual, such a deep message this time in the reading. Does anyone have any comments, any specific passages that really stood out to you?
For me, Prabhu, the last line really stood out because as Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj grooms all of us. He knows what our strengths are, how we can best be used for Lord Krishna and his and Srila Prabhupada's service. And he has this one-on-one conversations with us, to groom us and tell us, what we should do. So it's really his kindness and his mercy, just like Srila Prabhupada. So all glories to Guru Maharaj for that.
Yes, such a nice point, Prabhu. Yeah. And Guru Maharaj's, so to say, beginnings were so humble. He was just distributing books. But he was always so determined. After his work, he would go every day distribute books. And like we read in the morning, he was, before going to the job, he was chanting his rounds in the temple, completely absorbed. And I was thinking just on that point that how lifetime in preparation, Guru Maharaj's preparation was just a few years. And this time when he came to America, then every single time he was emphasizing chanting, every single class. And he is and was the living example, even as a businessman, even as a working person. Devotees particularly remember him being absorbed in his chanting. And the other thing he always emphasizes is book distribution and his book distribution. So amazing. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Jai Guru Maharaj.
iPhone 2, I think you can unmute yourself. You have your hand raised, you can unmute yourself.
We can go to, I think I saw that hand was up for some time, Prabhu. I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe we can go to next one. Garuda Hari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Prabhu. Mine just Aditya, I'm to join a little later. So Aditya Prabhu explained about Guru Maharaj health. Can you explain, please? Just last part I'm hearing.
So we'll come back to that, Prabhu. We'll just do 2 minutes more, just realizations on the reading, and then we'll have a few announcements and we'll come back to that, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Paramananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danda Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. I like the analogy of the pizza effect. I mean, that's very true. And as much as it keeps highlighting in history as well as in current state, I'm really fascinated the fact that, the culture had to be adopted by the foreigners first, and then it gained more importance in India. So yeah, I just want to prove that. I mean, just want to highlight that point, that it's the way it is, and it always has been like that.
Yes. And Prabhupada was the best transcendental businessman. He knew how to spread Krishna consciousness in that way. And Guru Maharaj is also the best transcendental businessman. Recently, there is some major event with like multi-millionaires or something like this. And on his Vyas Puja day, there are some very exalted people who are glorifying him in terms of their wealth. And they were mentioning how if Guru Maharaj was not a sadhu and just a businessman, he would have outdone all the Ambanis and Hindujas and everyone. And now that he's a spiritual businessman, I mean, he's established something like, someone made a number, like I think 120 or 140 temples are directly inspired by him. So he's opened like 150 branches of a company. Just in that way, if we see, and his main Delhi temple, it's like worth, hundreds of crores, and each temple again is coming hundreds of crores. So he's running a multi-billion-dollar industry right now, a spiritual movement, just single-handedly that he's inspired under Srila Prabhupada, but his kind of contribution of Srila Prabhupada. So amazing.
So amazing. That's right, Prabhuji. And those temples are coming beautiful. I get to see the Gurgaon temple just recently. It's so wonderful. Very well, good sculpturing and nice handicrafts. Even the building, and gives you a pretty ethnic Rajasthani look, more like a Oriental.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. Amazing. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Other comments? We're now running at just about an hour. So going forward, we're starting at 8:45 EST, 8:45. We're starting 15 minutes earlier.
9:45, Prabhu.
Sorry.
8:45 Central Time. Sorry.
You're right. Yes. 9:45 Eastern Time, 8:45 Central Time. And I just wanted to highlight this passage here. this one here. They're remembering Guru Maharaj. He worked every day and then he came home in the evening. I assume he showered and ate and then changed into dhoti and put on fresh tilak because he looked really refreshed. Then he entered the temple room, sat and started chanting his japa and Gayatri mantra. This was a nightly thing. I remember him chanting diligently. I kept thinking that he gets up early, spends a full day at a demanding job, and then he comes to the temple to chant with full concentration. I thought to myself, this is an amazing personality. And then he would go to the nearby buildings and distribute books for the rest of the evening. Yeah. Just on this, I wanted to just see what devotees think. We can have an open discussion. That I was thinking through the North American group itself, through our North American, the same WhatsApp group that we all been using. If something that we can just discuss and think about is we could have like a 1 hour japa period, like so many sanghas do, like a daily japa period in the morning, just 1 hour. One thought would be like with Pacific time, it would be 4 to 5, then Mountain time 5 to 6, Central time 6 to 7, and Eastern time 7 to 8. It would be an hour, and in the time zones, that's what it would happen. Where if we want to chant together, we could all chant. This suggestion came from, I think, Prasannatma Prabhu, the Montreal Prasannatma Prabhu, that why don't we keep chanting for Guru Maharaj and all together as disciples. So he suggested this and wanted me to put this out. And it came from the inspiration because the Baltimore Temple did a 2-hour japa session, and all disciples, we got together and we chanted, and it was so nice. So we were thinking, why not we just do this every day, and whoever wants to join, we use the same Zoom link that Jagannath Priya Prabhu has provided. We just click in and we do that. But in order to do that, we need to just decide on an hour that works for everyone in the day, an hour that will get the maximum number of devotees chanting. So this is one small suggestion that I have, one thought, and we could discuss that, and then after that, hear more about Guru Maharaj's health. But first, if anyone has any feedback on this japa period, because we should only do it if people would like to join. We have our local temples, and maybe we all have already groups that we are participating in. But if we think it's a good idea, and there's maybe at least 10 people who are interested, then we could do it.
I think it's a great idea. If everybody wants to have few hours, few minutes, 30 minutes, even 60 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever time, they can join. So, and if you can start, let's say, you're talking about morning time, right?
Yes.
So morning time start at 4 p.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever time, according to Zoom, according to time zone. And then link available, people can join it. Somebody wants to start from 4 to 7, that's fine too.
Yeah, Prabhu,
So,
actually, that's a good idea. Yes.
so that's great. Even 30 minutes, 20 minutes. Only question I have is that how are you going to do Zoom? Because Zoom sometimes people chanting together, and some people are very loud and some people are not loud at all, or some soft chanters. And sometimes if you mute and then keep Prabhupada's cassette, but then I think everybody likes to chant and hear other people too. Some people keep the video on, some people keep the video off. All these things, maybe you have to just figure it out how to do it.
Yes, actually, I was thinking if we decide on an hour, so people can join any, this is a great point, that we can click the Zoom link and start chanting at any point. But I was thinking 1 hour. At that time, some groups, what they do is they play like Prabhupada's chanting japa. So we could play Guru Maharaj's chanting japa. We have a recording of that. We all do. It's like on YouTube. We put that up. and then we play that for that 1 hour, and then that's kind of like the hour that people would like to join. So starting from the West Coast, the earliest we could do is 4 a.m. and then in the East Coast that would be from 7 to 8. But I'm just wondering, for the East Coast, would that be too late, or would that be okay? Because then someone would actually, it would actually need to be Guru Maharaj's chanting would need to be turned on, like you're saying. So there's some regularity there.
Prabhu, can I share our experience here in Toronto?
Yes, Prabhu.
We have been doing it in the evening, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. every day. And people come and people leave. So somebody joins just for 1 round, some join for more. We do put the recorded version on, and people simply keep themselves on mute. Some people do turn their audio on, which is fine, but it's all at their choice. And the fact that they can come and go anytime really helps them join for a little bit of time, because not everyone can join for the whole hour every day. So this flexibility really helps. And it's been working fine. I mean, we don't get a lot of people. We get 5 to 10 people at any point in time, but it's a constant flow of people.
Yes, okay, Prabhu. That gives us more confidence, because my small experience has also been that it works. Somehow, some people are unmuting, some people are muting, but the chanting goes on. So I think then if you are confirming it, then that's, I think, very nice then. I was thinking morning would be best. Is that what people feel? Because evening, it's like, because we have 4 time zones, evening will be very difficult. And on the East Coast, I don't know if anyone's going to sit at 8 o'clock at night and chant. So since, like in other yatras, they're in one specific place, but in our case, morning time might be the best. So shall we do that? Just the morning time, 1 hour. So people can come and join whenever, like Prabhu said. I think that's a very key point. So no one has to join for the full hour, just 10 minutes, 15 minutes each they could do. Or an hour if they like, the full hour.
So what we can do is, I think somebody just mentioned, and we did this, we can just, Madan Adbhuta Prabhu, we can send just a quick survey out. We don't have to decide. Let's get feedback on, let's see, over next week or so. Not everyone is on this call. We have over 350 families, initiative families, I believe, in North America. So let's create a basic form, give time zone, and again, we'll just mention on that form that they'll play Guru Maharaj or Prabhupada's tape, and then everyone can join at a time. So let's decide once we hear back from everyone. Is that okay?
Yeah, the survey is fine, Prabhu, but you will find that there's no one time that suits everyone. So somewhere a decision will have to be made to go with whatever hour we decide. And then some will make it, some will not make it.
Okay. And then one other thing, this book reading, I know a lot of devotees have some join not every week regularly, so they can send their name to Madan Adbhuta Prabhu, and we will have a list of devotees who want to read. So we'll make sure everyone gets a chance to read, not just the ones who raise their hands. So we are keeping track of everyone who has read so far, and we'll make sure everyone gets a chance to read. So just send your name to Madan Adbhuta Prabhu, and we can have you on the list. On the list of people who want to read. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I just wanted to add about for the chanting thing. If you are having a 2-hour period, it will give a flexibility, like whichever, for some people who are in the West Coast, it will not be too early for them. And whereas for the East Coast, it will not be too late for them. So I just wanted to see, so that if that is added to the survey, that will be one more option. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
That's also a very nice idea. And then we could maybe, one person can be in charge of the hour and another person 1 hour. I think perhaps, at least in the beginning, we will just need a facilitator, someone who's kind of looking after the whole Zoom thing and is committed to being there, and everyone else can join in and out whenever they need to. Okay, yes. So now I think Garud Hari Prabhu had requested Advaita Acharya Prabhu if you could, just for those who came in late.
Hare Krishna to everybody. So Guru Maharaj is getting better. That's the good news. Guru Maharaj is almost now 7-8 days in the hospital. Everybody knows that he developed this problem with the shortness of breath, and he was admitted related to his heart conditions, and they did the angiogram. They did not do any kind of intervention after that. His heart is pumping fairly good, so it's a little bit weaker than previous 6 months ago, 3 months ago. And now he's on medications. He's on what you call monitoring very closely with his vital signs. He is able to eat fair. It's not, appetite is not good yet. He's still weak, but he's getting out of the bed. He's walking a little bit with the assistance, with supervision, but he can walk without even holding by anybody else. But we're still keeping very close eyes on his balance. He has most likely will be discharged home on this Monday or Tuesday, based upon what doctors decides. And one more important thing is that nobody's seeing him, nobody's meeting, even the top leaders. They are what you call prohibited to see him or talk to him. So I think this is good for the Guru Maharaj health. So overall, he's getting better, and he's thanking to everybody who has prayed for him and also supported him. His Delhi team, his personal assistants are amazingly great. They have done tremendous kind of service to him. It's those people who serve him closely, they know that how difficult it is to serve Guru Maharaj in a sense, especially when he's sick. But I think so. Everybody deserves the credit, I think, from temple devotees in Delhi.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, no, it's we're so grateful. Guru Maharaj is getting better again, and we yes, Bhakti Yoga Prabhu, you had a comment. I think your hand was up.
Oh yes, Hare Krishna, everyone. So nice to see all of you. Oh, maybe I should turn my camera. Yeah, there we go. So when COVID hit, we started a morning chanting session for all devotees to chant japa, and it's been going on ever since. And so we started in around April or May of 2020. We start at 4 a.m. and it ends at 7 a.m. Devotees can join and leave as they like. They can chant their entire 16 rounds if they want.
Yes. Very well.
They can have nobody puts their camera on at that time of the day, but which is understandable. But if devotees want, they can put their cameras on. They can take them off. They can have their speaker going, or they can have it off. But the point is we did that so that we could all come together as a yatra because of COVID. And like I said, we've been continuing on since Guru Maharaj became ill. We've invited other devotees in the Greater Toronto area to join our group, and also establish the evening group that's going every day from 6:30 to 7:30. So that's been going on well. And like Rupananga Prabhu mentioned earlier, even in our morning group, you can chant your entire 16 rounds there, or you can go on for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Nobody judges anyone. And it's been going swimmingly. So just wanted to throw that out there. We don't need to set rules. It's not a monitored group in the sense that we don't have anyone letting devotees in and out. If you're the first person to, sometimes I log in at 3:30 in the morning and I'm the first person, and it accepts me because it's been set up that way. And And so anybody, it doesn't matter, anyone in our yatra, whoever it is, they can start up the group because it's set up that way to start that way. So there's no monitor. It's all just like if you're in a temple setting and you're walking in the temple room and sit with the devotees and chant, or you walk out of the temple room, nobody's monitoring who's coming in and going out. So we've set up the Zoom session like that. And so we don't have to wait for somebody to let us in. We're automatically in. So
That's amazing, Prabhu. Perhaps one idea is also that perhaps we could just join your groups. Because it's something going on. But again, we can discuss that, like Jagannath Priya Prabhu was saying. Now that we have some feedback ideas offline, we can discuss and get more feedback from other devotees, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing, actually. But you do it 3 hours, you said, from 4 in the morning to 7?
Yeah, so devotees can step in and out at any time. Even if they only want to chant for 5 or 10 minutes or half an hour, depending on their timing and what their home situation is like. And like I said, there's no judgment. No one judges anyone. Sometimes some devotees don't show up for days. That's fine. Again, there's no judgment. But yeah, it's now a mature group because it's been going on for more than 3 years.
So how many people, how many devotees come, Prabhuji, on average?
Probably about 20 or 30.
Oh, that's a lot. That's great.
Yeah, ours is a small yatra. This is ISKCON Milton that's doing this. So, well, we do have devotees from Toronto, God brothers and God sisters who join in the morning. They know of the going group and they join in the morning. But and we've advertised it since Guru Maharaj's illness and him being in the hospital. We advertised it to all our God brothers and God sisters. So anyone who wants to join the morning group can. Well, we set up the afternoon group, the 6:30 to 7:30 every day, so that if devotees can't join in the morning, they can join in the evening, or they can do both times.
Maybe we can create one group for the North America.
Yeah, so we'll discuss offline, and I think we can work something out. Sure. And by the way, this meeting is set up like this. This Zoom link, anyone can join, start, share screen. So this meeting is already set up that way. But yeah, let's have offline discussion, get some feedback, and then we'll definitely get back to everyone.
Yes, and possibly both in the morning and evening. That's also nice.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I think it will be really nice for us to do it, because many people mentioned that this time especially, every time, but this time especially, Guru Maharaj was really emphasizing chanting the holy name with full attention, chanting it nicely, chanting. So I think he really wanted us to do something like this, and he was like every class he was mentioning this point of chanting.
So in the evening group that we set up, our intention is to have that group going until Guru Maharaj leaves the hospital, even when he's back at the temple in his room, until we start seeing him again. Whether the Zoom calls or whatever. At that point, we might stop doing it in the evening, but it'll continue every single day, like it has been since we heard. So.
Very nice. Subha Saka Prabhu, you had your hand up.
Yeah, this is actually I got some interruptions, so I could not share about the reading. So one thing I felt is we keep hearing about books at the basis. And then when Maharaj was going in the evenings after work and distributing the books, it shows from day one or from the early stages of his time in ISKCON, he started implementing that so well. Right, so that's what I want planning to share.
Yes. No, books are Guru Maharaj is like, what I find amazing is that he practiced and showed by example everything that he preaches. So it's like, sometimes if Maharaj is a sannyasi and he's giving that instruction based on the fact that he's a sannyasi, but as a grihastha he did everything that he preaches. Any other comments, questions? Should we end here?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my just Jagannath Priya Prabhu explained now is North America. We have a close to 300 family, right? 350 family. So when a Janardana Maharaj, because Janardana Maharaj giving class, Guru Maharaj give order to him to, when a Janardana Maharaj giving class also, probably nobody, not 300 people also, like 100 families joining, 250 people. So we need to know why everybody not joining. Like every Saturday happen, Guru Maharaj thing also maybe 30 family, 40 family. So we need to know why everybody know joining. Each temple have a counseling people. They can ask why you not join. This is possible or not?
Well, we should definitely connect with the circle of devotees that we know, because I think we all are in certain circles, and the devotees that are not coming that we know, we should connect with them, like you're saying, and encourage them to come.
Like Aditya Prabhu, Baltimore and Washington DC area in church, like Rupanuga Prabhu, Toronto. So every temple have a different leader. They can ask why not to join. This way we need to better to connect it and good for Guru Maharaj help us.
Yes.
This thing.
Yes. So let's connect with people and keep them connected, and keep thinking of him. Thank you everyone for joining again. I think we're well over time. We should probably end. This is so ecstatic. Thank you for your wonderful association. And
Thank you everyone. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare